large 18-wheeler or commercial vehicles. If you've been involved in a wreck with a commercial vehicle,
call Wettermark Keith, the name you know and trust.
Think back to when you were a kid and probably your parents, your grandparents, someone important in your life was right there by your side to tell you that what they hoped for you most of all was that you would find a way to reach your potential. That's a pretty powerful word, don't you think? Potential. And part of the power is that there's never a limit to what you can reach. And this morning we're so glad to have Eli Smith on the show. He's with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we're using that word potential because they're getting ready for the City of Potential Awards breakfast. So nice to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And you know, when I first was kind of reading about this, I wasn't sure where you meant for the word potential to be accented. Did you mean it to go with the kids or with our city itself? Because
that's a good question. I would say it's both, because we believe in defending the potential of youth. That's what we do as an organization. But we also believe that this city is full of potential. So that's kind of the idea of this event, is that we are celebrating mentorship, not just youth mentoring. That's what we do. We think we do it really well, but we believe that mentoring happens all across the city in lots of ways.
So at the breakfast, which is August 23rd, right?
Correct.
At Common House.
Yeah.
You've got quite a laundry list of people that you are going to be recognizing. So are these all people within Big Brothers Big Sisters or city leaders in general?
No. So some of them are involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters, but most of them are not. Most of them are just people in the community who are doing really cool things through mentoring.
So when you talk about mentoring, I think that a lot of us, were you a Seinfeld watcher?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, a little bit.
There was an episode where there was a mentor. Seinfeld dated somebody who had to always have a mentor. That involved a lot of time commitment from that person's part. Sometimes mentoring can even happen quietly.
Absolutely.
Where you don't realize somebody's watching you, but they are.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what's cool about this event, is we get to shine a spotlight on some of those people who maybe even aren't fulfilling that role of mentorship in a formal sense, but have been noticed by the community and the impact that they're making.
So before we dovetail into some specific things about Big Brothers Big Sisters, and you can give a shout out to some of the faces, recognize you're making this pretty user friendly, because you don't have to buy a table to come to this breakfast. You can just get an individual ticket.
Right, yeah, so if people want to sponsor a table, they can go ahead and get 8 of their friends together and come to the event. But if you want to just buy an individual ticket, those are $75 on our website. You can go to cityofpotential.com right now and do that. You've got a couple more weeks before we close ticket sales.
Before you close ticket sales, you're also, I think, have done a smart thing. Nothing ever wrong with the keynote speaker, but you're not having one. You're letting the awards itself be the fun.
Sure, because we've got a lot of awards to give out. So we've got 3 different categories, and we've got 3 finalists in each category. And then we've got another award that we will give out to one of our partners within Big Brothers Big Sisters. That's the Defenders of Potential Award. And then we're also going to recognize our Bigs of the Year. So we've got a Big Brother and Little Brother of the Year, a Big Sister and Little Sister of the Year, and then a Big Couples Match of the Year.
So with the nominees, if you will, for these awards, were they nominated by people? Did y'all hand select them? How did that happen?
Yes, so the nominations came from the community. That it was an open nomination process. Anyone could submit. And then we had a panel of people that we selected as an agency of just really great community leaders that we trust, who've got some wisdom and expertise to offer. They came together and they selected 3 finalists for each category and selected the winners, which we will announce at the event on the 23rd.
So I hope I'm going to say this in the way I mean it to come across, but when I was looking at the list, and in fairness, I was kind of skirting through it, but it was not the list of familiar names that you often see. And I liked it, because I remember when I was a kid growing up, and you would read about the famous people in your history books and stuff. And then there was the realization that they weren't born famous. They just did great things that got acknowledged, and that's how they got themselves, you know, the recognition. These are people just like us, who are plowing away at something every day that they believe in.
Yeah, I think that's what's really cool about this event, is that these are people who are doing mentoring in their workplace, or for the organization that they work for, or they're mentoring one specific person. There are all types of people represented, and like you said, it's not necessarily people, the list that always comes to mind for something like this.
I think that's empowering.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice little reminder that everyone can make a difference.
Absolutely.
And that is what you see at Big Brothers Big Sisters. I mean, the people who volunteer to sign up and become a big are very, very impactful in kids' lives.
Absolutely. And if anyone wants to get involved and become a big or learn more about it, you can do that on our website right now. bbbschat.org. It's a pretty easy process, and we would love to have people come on board because it's a great time. We got a school year starting up, and there's definitely a need for it. So.
I know that you, I think this is accurate to say within Big Brothers, y'all are very careful about making the right match. So you mentioned it's an easy process, but not completely quick. Because you're going to fill out a lot of information, right?
Yes, that's a good distinction. Thank you for mentioning that, because it's not a complicated process, but it does take a while sometimes because we are very careful with who we match kids with, and we want to make sure that it's a good match. We don't want to just find the nearest kid and say, this is the kid you're going to mentor. We want it to be something that people can stick with for a long time. So.
And you're also, my memory is very quick to remind people that it doesn't have to be a lot of money that you're putting out. What you need is time.
Yes, absolutely. For our community-based programs and a lot of our programs, it's about 4 to 6 hours a month is what we tell people. So for me, with my little brother, that looks like every other Sunday afternoon. Typically, we'll go do something for a couple of hours. And it's not a lot of money. I mean, we do our best to provide our bigs with, we have a thing that we call the Big Deals List, which is a list of businesses around town where they can get discounts or free stuff if they show their card saying that they're a big. So we try to make it as easy as possible to hang out with your littles, and it doesn't have to be as expensive as a lot of people think it is, I think.
So you can come hang out and start your day on August 23rd with a bunch of bigs and some pretty big names in the city.
Absolutely.
At the City of Potential Awards Breakfast, Common House, August 23rd. Here's how you can get your tickets. You're welcome to call. It's 698-8016. They've also made it easy with a designated website, cityofpotential.com. An individual ticket is just $75, and it's all going for a great cause.
Yep.
Thank you, Eli.
Thank you.
Join us to Golf for Good, Friday, September 15th at Brown Acres. Enjoy a round of golf, lunch, and more, all to help raise funds for volunteers in medicine and Project Access. Golf for Good. Register now at VIMchat.org.